Hey everybody, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about chord progressions. What are chord progressions? How do you use them? How do you build them? How do you figure out where they are and what notes to play? That's what I want to explore today with you. Let's take a look at chord progressions in the key of C, A, and G. I think those are pretty common for most people. Those are chords that you know. They're notes that you know. They're scales that are relatively simple, and we can figure those out really easily on the fretboard. So let me show you how. First, what is a chord progression? Well, really simply put, a chord progression is the order of chords that you play across how many bars, how many measures, etc. So a simple chord progression might be a G chord, a D chord, and then a C chord. Okay, it might sound like this. So if I played a G to a D to a C, back to a G. So that's pretty common. You probably recognize that already, but that's a chord progression. And throughout all of our music, we're playing some form of chord progression over a drum, bass line, etc. We're playing a chord progression for rhythm that carries the music for us, right? But how do we build that? It's got to be built around a common key. Now in a song, that key may change in the middle of the song, but generally a song is played in a certain key, and we're playing chords that are part of that scale, right? That key scale. So if we're talking about a C chord progression in the key of C, we're building that off of the C major scale. So the key of C is a really good place to start because it's all the natural notes. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So our major scale is a root, and then whole, whole, half, whole, 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 and then the half step brings us back to our root. So let's take a look at the key of C. So C played here in the first position, up here in the first three frets. So that's all of our natural notes. We can play that in a couple more positions as well. So we can start here, same place, but play it across the neck in this position. We can also get on the sixth string and find our C, so that's our root note, and play it like that. And again, C is easy to start with because it's all of our natural notes. No sharps, no flats. So if I were going to talk about a chord progression, I would relate each one of those notes to a chord degree, or a degree of that scale, a degree of that key. So in the case of C, this would be my 1, first degree, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to the root. Okay? That becomes more important because I start to make a chord progression and I'll use Roman numerals and numbers to describe it. So I might say 1, 4, 5 chord progression in the key of C. And that actually sounds like this. What I played was the C, then I played an F, and then up to a G, back to C. Why did I play that? Well, I said 1, 4, 5 in that key, right? So my first is a C, D, E, F. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my F note. And then 5 is my G, and then A, 6, 7 is the B, back to C. So my 5th degree is a G, my 4th degree is an F, and my 1st is the C. Now if I look at the fretboard, and you're not familiar, let's switch to the key of G and say 1, 4, 5. Okay, I can actually play it by looking at my G here, which is the 3rd fret on my 6th string, my E string. So E, F, G. So G, and I go through my chord degrees, right? So 1, 2, 3. I can go to my 5th string on the 3rd fret. That becomes my 4, 5, 6, 7. And then half would take me right back to the root note. So if I want to play 1, 4, 5, my 1st would be the G, my 4th would be a C, and then D would be my 5th. So if I played that in the open position here, 1, 4, 5, I said G, C, D. Back to the root. Okay, so if I'm in the key of C and I want to map it out that same way, I find my C here on my 5th string, which is the 3rd fret, and I go 2, 3. Now my 4, 5, and 6, I'll do it a little bit differently. I'll go from the 3rd fret on the 5th, which is my 1. If I go up 1 fret or 1 string to the 6th string, that's my 5th. And I go down 2 frets, that's my 4th. If I go up 2 frets from the 5th, that's my 6th. So a little bit different, but really easy to kind of map out. So C, F, G. So that 1, 4, 5 we played earlier, just like that. One more thing we want to learn or understand in those degrees, okay, in those notes within our chord progression, or the chords within the chord progression, my 1st, my 4th, and my 5th are going to be major chords. My 2nd, my 3rd, and my 6th are going to be minor chords. So in the key of G, if I were to run through that, this would be a G major, it'd be an A minor, it'd be a B minor, back to a D, C major, D major, and then we go to an E minor. Okay, now we're only going to go 1 through 6, because once we get into 7th, it's a little bit different. But these are very simple major minors. So a lot of your chord progressions are built off of these chord degrees. So a really common chord progression, let's take a look at this, is a 1, 5, 6, 4. So in the key of C, my 1 is a C, my 5th is a G, my 6th is a A minor, and then my 4th is an F. So C, G, A minor, F. And this is used in a ton of songs. So let's just play it in the open position. Okay. So same thing: C, G, A minor, F, back to C. Okay, that's a 1, 5, 6, 4. We can do the same thing if we wanted to play that in the G key, the key of G. We could just start here on our G, and as we play it, we're going to go 1. Okay, and if I play my 5th, it's going to take me up here to my D. 6 is a minor. back down to my major C. So. Okay, let's try one more. This one, we're going to play the 6th, the 4th, then we'll go back down to the 1st, which is the key we're playing in, and then we'll play our 5th. So let's look at that in C. Now the 6th is a little bit different, right? I go to the 6th string here and up one. This is my A, and in this case A minor. So C, A minor is my 6th, 4th is an F, 5th is a G. So those are the 4 chords. So now let's play them in that order of my progression. So 6, 4, 1, 5. So I'll start here, 6, 4, 1, 5. Okay, now that's in the key of C, and we will play that on and on. We might actually mix up the progression throughout the song, something like that, as we maybe move to a bridge or a chorus and so on. So we'll generally stay in that same key, but we'll mix up the chords a little bit. So we might play something like this. Mix it up and just go. And then bring it back to the original progression and so on. So that's how we might mix it up as we go along. Okay, so try some of those out. 1, 4, 5 is your most common. We can play that almost anywhere. G. If you're playing power chords, it's even more simple. You don't have to worry about the major and minor because those power chords are playing two strings, 2 notes, or even adding the root back in. So the 1st, the 5th, and the root. Those are all kind of ubiquitous. They can play a minor, major tone. They don't really have a strong major or minor because we're not playing the 3rd. So remember, major has a 3rd, minor has a flat 3rd in that chord. So if I'm just playing the 3 notes, the 1st and the 5th, it doesn't matter which one I'm playing, right? It doesn't make a difference. So if I'm playing 1, 4, 5, I went back to the 4th and then to the root again, or 1, 5, 4. Something like that. So you can play around with that, and you can mix those up. And remember, if you're starting with a root on the 5th string, so we would go 1, 4, 5. So 5. Something like that. That's 1, 5, 4 in my key on the 5th string, right? So one of those notes. And in this case, that was a D. So that was D, A, G. If I played it in the open position, it would sound like that. So we can kind of mix up how we play those chords. And we can also start to find those chords in different parts of the neck if we want them to sound a little bit differently. I may not want to have that D, A, like that. I might want it up here and play it. I think it sounds a little bit better in this position of the neck, right? So to sum that up really, understanding how our chords kind of go together within that scale and in those progressions will really help us. So when you're looking at music or you're trying to learn a song or figure out a song, or somebody even says, oh, that's in the key of C, it's a 1-4-5 progression, a 1-5-4, 1-6-5-4, whatever it may be, you can kind of map that out. I think it also really helps understanding scales in general, your major scale. If I know that I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to my root, I can kind of figure out what any scale is of any note just by starting that way. I can start all the way up here at the B. And that's my B major, just like that. So I think that really helps understand the fretboard a little bit more, which will help us as we continue to learn power chords, bar chords, the E, the A shape bar chords. We're playing those up and down the neck, both in the major and the minor, and so on. So learning chord progressions and understanding how they go together in a key, I think is really vital. Keep experimenting with those. Figure out some of your own. Look up the most common chord progressions. Try them in the keys of G, C, A, D, whatever suits your fancy, right? Figure out some of those progressions, look them up, have fun with that, keep playing, and please, if you like this type of content, this type of video, this kind of information, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join us in our next video. Thanks.